In 2018, Sigma released the Sony Messenger system to the Sony A7RII 1.4D HSM art portrait lens that was a mirror version, but with an elongated tail. In 2020, Sigma released a completely new version of Sigma A7RII 1.4D GDN art. For convenience, then I will call them just an old Sigma and new Sigma. Unfortunately, the networks available in the network could not give me answers to some of the questions you are interested in and most important for me, so I decided to just buy both of these lenses and compare himself. Beginning from the price, in the shops, the old Sigma is about $1,050, while the new one is already worth $1,200. Believers are supplied in white boxes that are different from size only. To each of the lenses in the box there is a corporate case. In the old version of the CFR, you can hang on the strap that also is included in the new version of the box. There are no straps, but there is a fastening for the bell. In the old version, the filter fastening is calculated under 86 mm and such filters are often difficult to find. In the new version of 77 mm size and with the search for filters there are no such problems here. The weight of the new Sigma is almost 2 times less than that of the old. Because of such a huge difference, I will say that using the new version is much more pleasant. The desire to take significantly higher than this lens. Also comparable weight without covers and without blend. But the weight is not the only convenience of the new version relatively old. I always try to use blend and I'm just terribly infuriated as on the old version of the tight she takes off and dress up. Every time you need to make a bunch of effort and hear this terrible creak. On the new version of blend, dresses the most easily and with very reliable. In a reason for the position of blend, is fixed by a special lock on the likeness of how the lens is fixed in the chamber. It cannot fly under any circumstances. To remove the blend you just need to press the button on the blend. This is a brilliant decision. I do not understand why no one thought before. When considering the old Sigma, you can find only 2 things. It is a switch between manual focus and autofocus modes, as well as the scale of calculating the depth of field. On the new Sigma, we also have a switch between manual focus and autofocus. Under it is a programmable button, the assignment of which can be set in the chamber itself, the default function of the focus lock function. Another innovation is a mechanical ring switching diaphragm. On the other hand, the lens has an unspecified switch lock, which blocks this ring or at the electronic switching of the diaphragm or in the mechanical switching range. Under the programmable button, we have another switch, which translates the mechanical diaphragm mode from the step into the smooth belch. From the scale of calculating the depth of field in the new version, they decided to refuse, but I really do not know people who would use it. In terms of optical properties, I would like to start from the first to what you pay attention to the pictures from the new Sigma. Just an incredible level of distortion for lens with a focal length of 85 mm. Direct on the plan of the line dance with curved arcs. Fortunately, this problem can be solved programmatically, in the RAW converter. And those who remove into JPEG with the autocorrection included and will not meet with this problem at all. As I understand, the refusal to correct of this unpleasant feature of the lenses and made it possible to significantly reduce the weight and size of the new lenses. The second feature that can be noticed here is the fact that the focal length of the new version is slightly higher than that of the old one. Before that, I compared the old version from Sigma with other lens 85mm and the photo on Sigma was a little wider. The angle of view of the new lens this time seems to really correspond to 85mm, but so far I do not have on the hands of other lenses with such focus to say for sure. The third feature that can be noticed in these pictures is a purple cast on the old Sigma in some places, and his absence on a new one, which indicates that with chromatic aberrations on the new version of things is better. By sharpness, it is difficult for me to say which of the lenses is better. I'm not quite sure that I fully correctly made a synthetic test, but unfortunately I have no more opportunity to repeat it. Since the new version clearly wins in one corner, but in another corner it wins the old. It seems to me that there is a place to be in discrepancies in the corner of the depth of field. Compare the sharpness of several pictures made in real conditions. And it is also difficult for them to say something. If you bring the first two pictures, then sharpness and contrast seem to me more convincing on the old version. But on the third shot, it wins clearly new. The hat looks much clearer on the new version. The texture of jeans is significantly more pronounced on the new version, and what chromatic aberrations on the old version. Also, the texture of the chair is slightly more pronounced on the new version. Personally, my opinion is that the sharpness is not the parameter that can really make the advantage towards one of these lenses. Really, the strong side of the new version in comparison with the old one is chromatic aberrations. On the old version, purple reflections begin to disappear only to the diaphragm 2.8, there are no more on the new. And perhaps I made a not better scene, the difference between the lenses would show a lively snapshot. At the beginning, I said that I did not find the test of interest to me in the network, so this is the parameter of light transmission. I was very afraid that the new version would be darker than an old one, but it turned out to be at my surprise not only not darker, but lighter for the whole third of the shoal exposure. On an open diaphragm, viewing both lenses is approximately the same. But it is worth covering the old version to 2.0 and vignetization almost disappears when it remains strong even on a diaphragm 2.8. For the next test, I built such a composition. Well, the new Sigma is clearly more eliminating to parasitic litters. At the old Sigma, 9-petal diaphragms, new 11, so that a purely technically new Sigma should be stronger in terms of bokeh on covered diaphragms. I did not really notice this, but I noticed that the circles on a diaphragm 2.0 with the edge on the new Sigma have a slightly cropped form. On the front bokeh we see all the circumcision of the edge of the circles on the new Sigma, only this time not only on the diaphragm 2, but also on the diaphragm 2.8. But this time I already obviously felt that the cutoff side of the circle has a much smoother form than on the old Sigma. Autofocus speed in the new Sigma is much higher, it can be seen immediately. But in order to really be visible as much as it is higher, I lined up the video on the first frame when the focus starts to change and slow down the video 20 times. The new Sigma is more than twice as faster focusing than old. And once again on more open spaces so that the autofocus was roaring. The result is identical. The tracking autofocus on the video on the old Sigma besides tears cannot be called anything. On her background, the new Sigma works as something from the future. Well, at the end of some comparative pictures. All test pictures, as well as even more examples, you can download the link in the description. Snapshots are available both in JPEG and in RAW. Thank you all for watching. I hope this video helped someone to decide in the choice.